So I think the end, like 2 square beds.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and just like dump manure in there. Those I already like there were a couple weeds and I took them out.
Okay.
Here I just start telling him that he needs to not take a hoe to my strawberries because that's almost what happened. And so we're just kind of like working out our plan here. I realized you couldn't really hear most of what we were saying, so I sped it up a little to voice it over. But we get these nasty weeds that are super deep. And so here he's trying to dig them out, and I'm weeding the potato buckets. Yeah, those things are nasty.
Man, that's a thick taproot.
Yes. But I'm saying, like, you can't just dig those out. I tried, and it went very poorly.
I can feel the taproot separating.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't exaggerating.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Warm.
Yay, health. Our soil is nice and healthy.
Also grub.
Say grub?
Yeah.
Mm. Also, maybe we should empty this mint container now.
That looks like spinach?
That's the spinach.
Oh.
Yes.
Did you put that there?
Yes, I did. There will be other spinaches going in there soon, too. I mean, like, all of these leaves probably need to just come out. There's too many. Like, you can't even get to the beds.
Yeah.
Oh, wormies. So many worms. Oh, this is the fattest worm I've ever seen.
Whoa.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Get in there, wormy. Take your life.
Sunflower stalk left over.
No, that was from cabbage. I just like didn't make it. Back here, if you wanna come get these and I'll hold the trellis away. To me how much these strawberries spread over the winter.
I know.
I didn't think that was possible. I thought they were all just gonna die.
Pretty tough, I guess. Found more worms.
Yeah, health. The ultimate sign of garden health.
Yeah, I think our soil looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Alright, everything that's left over here is actual strawberries that will get moved and come out when we put that bed in. To like, because I have to break it up because it comes so clumpy.
I was gonna say, you just sit and then just like kick it on across like that.
But I don't want it to end up on top of the plants at all. Like, I don't want it to get buried. You know what I mean? I also want to do some digging about good mulch options. Maybe just like untreated mulch. You know, like undyed.
Yeah.
Since we took the risk with hay last year or whatever, and it clearly did not work out in our favor. So here I'm just going through and hand adding in compost on top of our onions and garlic. I didn't want to just dump the bags like we're doing in all of the other beds that are empty because the onions and garlic are all sprouting up above the soil. So I wanted the greens to stay, free and clear to be able to get sunshine, but to add compost in for extra nutrients. And so at this point, the next job in terms of cleaning up the beds was to get all of these strawberries out of this bed that had spread from that center little like circular container over the winter into this garden bed. And so I was going through and strategically digging out each strawberry plant and then breaking off a bunch of the extra soil and letting that stay in the bed because all I wanted was the bare root strawberries. I mean, you can see, like I show you there, the root systems are pretty big on all of these strawberries. And so at this point, I'm just digging them all out so that we can move them over to a new bed that we'll end up creating at the end of this string of garden beds. One of the leaves on this one got like bare feet. And so two of the leaves are like black and one of them is yellow because they haven't had any sunshine. I'll try putting that one in the garden. It might not make it though. Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured. Thank you. So I need to cut some of this apart. Look at all those strawberry plants. That's not even all of them yet. But I'm about to be done with this bed so you can do the things with it.
The leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the last one out of the bed. Everything else I have to get out of here. This is, I'm pretty sure this guy was the original because he is like, he's large and like very hard time getting anything else out. Look at the side of this.
Oh, it's more root than soil.
Look. Alrighty, this guy can go into the compost bucket or whatever that is gonna be. Actually, if we pull out of the compost and then toss it in there, that might not be a bad idea. So these are all of our strawberry plants that I pulled out of that bed, and this is where we actually start prepping to build a new bed for these strawberries out of supplies that we found behind our shed. And so I didn't get footage of us actually making this because I'm still new at remembering to film the process, but we built this bed and got all of the strawberries transplanted into it. And what you can see here are a bunch of raspberry shoots that have come up from our bush. So now that it's springtime, it's growing like crazy. Hello, welcome to a very sunny Saturday in Rhode Island. We are out in the garden doing a handful of things today. We are going to plant all of our potatoes today. We're also going to do a little bit of garden cleanup. We've got some more weeds coming back. The footage you would have seen before this was last weekend where we cleaned out all of our beds. I seeded a handful of things, which I will show you, where basically none of it's popping up yet, but I'll show you kind of where I put some root crops in hopes that they're going to grow. I'm going to show you, you would have seen footage, I think, a little bit of the strawberry bed that we built. I'll give you an update on those. We are also giving all of our seedlings some fresh air and sunshine. You're leaning up against a tray full of peppers and onion, like bunching onions, and I reseeded a bunch of broccoli, so I'm going to give you like an overview of all of these guys. Our tomatoes are looking nice and big. I'm going to prune a little bit of these. So I'm going to flip you around and explain more about this, but about the pruning process specifically that I'm going to do for these tomatoes. And then I'm going to go about the tasks I need to get done. And I'm just going to bring you guys along with me. So you'll get a little bit of like garden tour type things, a little bit of me just like doing some stuff. And I'll voice over where I can to like add in a little bit of context for you. So when you're pruning peppers, there are things on pepper plants called suckers. So you see this main stem, you see this little, I'm trying to get it to focus, it's so sunny out here, this little leaf here, and this little leaf there. What ends up happening every time your tomato plant gives off a new sucker, you'll see them there. Oh, the sunshine is a little rough. You see that one there. Every time it gives off a new sucker, that's going to create a new branch to your tomato plant. Which is where, like this guy, I'm gonna move him this direction a little. You'll see how many directions this guy is running off in, which you want to kind of keep under control. If you let all of your tomato plants just do this, right? So, I mean, imagine just having these two plants next to each other in your garden. The way that these create suckers and bush out, you're going to end up with no airflow, and it increases the risk of your plants getting various diseases. Blight is one of them. When it's too humid, too wet, and there's no airflow, and your tomatoes, like the fruit themselves, will be damaged and gross and not edible. So I'm gonna go through, I'm just trying to keep up with it while they're in their pots, and I am just going to literally like pinch off these little leaves. These ones are hard because they're a little small. Like these ones here, I'm just gonna use my fingers and just pinch them off so that they don't have the opportunity to grow. I mean, these bottom leaves are gonna go anyways. These are gonna, so like, boom, tomato. Like all of these are gonna go, because when I plant them in the ground, I'm kind of thinking next week, I'll plant this whole thing underneath the dirt. So I'm gonna go through and clean up a bunch of these tomatoes, and then we'll do potatoes after that. So here we have a bunch of the peppers. These might not need to be like out here for hardening off yet. That's the process of like letting them sit in the actual sunshine and have the wind hit them. They have the fan downstairs. These will go out in a couple weeks. You want to wait until peppers have like 50-degree nights. That's kind of the best time to plant them. You'll see we've got some of our eggplants here. So like this thing is huge. These daisies I'm actually going to put out today, I think. Along with these bunching onions. Actually, I'm going to leave them in here for now, but they are going to go into the garden. We have a couple more peppers. I don't know what was supposed to grow here, but clearly nothing did. The spinach will go out today. And these are the broccolis and the Brussels that I reseeded. These are going to wait a few more days before they go out. They're still pretty thin. I don't know if they're going to happen. These might be just a fall crop. These are the tomatoes. Some of them are just like so big at this point, like they're just kind of droopy. I don't know, they'll be fine. And then we have a bunch more eggplants here. These are looking super healthy, which is exciting. I've never grown eggplant before, so I can't wait to do that. And then the cucumbers. Some of them got a little burnt. I didn't move the lights in time, but then some of them are just like huge. So these will probably go in the garden soon. And then we have our box of potatoes. And so I went through and took all of the full-size potatoes and cut them into chunks that have eyes on them. This way you're getting more bang for your buck out of potato. You want to do this a few days in advance so this edge dries a little bit. It reduces your risk of them rotting. And so I'm going to plant them into these 3 containers here. I will probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potatoes per bin. I think. We'll end up with like a bunch of potatoes within these 3 bins. That container used to be the strawberry container that started all the strawberry madness. I think I'm gonna turn that into a bed with, or a container with bunching onions. Somehow in this first bed, this guy's still alive. He's not really growing a whole lot, but he's still there, so we're just gonna leave him. I think this might be a volunteer pepper. It doesn't look like a tomato. I'm not sure. It could also be a sunflower. I don't know what those look like when they're small, so I'm just leaving it and letting it do its thing. This guy also somehow is still alive. Oh, hello, small sprouts. I put in, I'd have to double check what I put in here, but we got some things coming. That one might be a weed though. Yep, so that's happening. All of our onions look really good. See? Onions, all of them. We have a weed that I need to dig out, and our garlics are looking nice. They're starting to slowly like bulk up a tiny bit. So that's happening. The carrots are doing nothing. I put carrots in right there. They have not sprouted yet. And our strawberries. So we did this strawberry bed, and then we got this massive heat wave. So like this one looks okay. Those couple look like they're gonna make it. And then we have these guys. I think the center of this still has life. That still looks pretty okay, but like these leaves on the end are rough. Same with like this guy. I think we transplanted them, and then they got shocked by, we got like a really random like 2 days where it was 80 degrees outside. And so I think between the transplant and then, like this guy might be like dead. Between the transplant and then the heat wave, I just don't think they made it. So we'll see. We have our first tulip of the season. That's beautiful, and our hosta is filling out. This whole thing used to have hostas all the way down it, but we wanted a path, so we got rid of them. And then our raspberry bush is doing the bush things. All of the runners took off. I think in the video, like in the footage I put up earlier, these were really small, and these are freaking huge. And they escaped out of the thing. And it's all over there past the fence. So raspberries everywhere. That's fun. God, there's so much. I actually didn't realize how far this had gone. It's over there. Wow. Raspberries for days. I haven't planted anything in here yet. We have something to grow in here. I don't know what that is yet. What'll be interesting is to see if the cucamelons reseed, because they were on this arch trellis before. Oh, the one thing we do have over here, our lettuce reseeded from last year. So we got lettuce there. We have lettuce here. This was the bed that had lettuce in it last year, and so it just like reseeded itself. So we're getting lettuce from those. That's fun. Over here, we planted some stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, look. That's a beet. We also have squirrels who are lovingly digging in my garden, and I'm gonna have to fight them. We have this bundle of stuff, and I'm not entirely sure based on what I planted what that is, because I don't think those, like I think I just put beets over here. I'd have to look back at the other pictures I took from the other day. This might be a reseed from like whatever else was in here. Like this bed had ground cherries, and I don't remember what those look when they sprout. If one of those like fell into the soil and overwintered. This is a flower, I'm pretty sure, because I had really pretty flowers in this bed, and I actually don't remember what they were called, but they were over here. So this is probably a flower. These are weeds that I have to dig out, because of course I do. More weeds to dig out, more of the bluebells that are just like everywhere. And then this spinach that I planted, he's just thriving, he's going, taking off. I'm gonna put the other one in here with it. I don't think, those are more weeds. more weeds. It never ends. Especially these like big ones that I don't know where they come from. Over here should be lettuce. It's not coming up yet. It's all just dirt. And we'll see what happens. It should come up soon, but like I think the heat freaked everything out. Because it came out of nowhere. Like it was coolish and then it was very, very hot. It's cooling back off, so we might get lettuce soon. But yeah, so let's plant some potatoes. So these buckets are literally just storage totes from Target that cost like $8 or something. We drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom, filled them with soil, and we're planting those potatoes in them. They work really well and hold up nicely to the weather. Okay, so I've done a little more investigation. This I showed you earlier. I was like, oh, look at this cute, nice little patch of cute green stuff that I found that's growing. And then I realized there's a matching patch over here in this bed. And then I went to go get a weed out of my onions. And you've got all of this. It's all right here. So these are all ground cherry plants that reseeded from ground cherries dropping. Because the point in ground cherries, oh, here's another whole patch there. This is something too. This could be cherry tomatoes just because they look a little bit bigger. Because there's also a cherry tomato plant over here. So I'm not sure yet. We'll have to wait till that grows a little bit more. But so ground cherries, when you grow them, you know that they are ripe and ready to eat when they fall to the ground off of the plant. And all three of these beds had ground cherry plants in them. So I am fairly certain that we have an approximate shit ton of ground cherry plants now growing. Which means one of those little patches of green seedlings was our seeds from one ground cherry that dropped in that spot and reseeded itself, which is also kind of mind-blowing. Also, those stayed dormant all winter and are just now coming back, and it's the middle of April. So if that doesn't tell you that seeds want to grow, I don't know what does, because they've been in there all winter long, just doing their thing. So we now have ground cherries that I'm gonna have to thin and figure out what I want to do with, because I don't want to throw them away, but also they can't destroy my onion bed. So I've got to figure that out. That's fun. Yay. So at this point I started to plant some beans. We've got some red kidney beans, and then we're gonna plant purple hull beans. They look like cowpeas, but the shells are purple. Regular old black beans, and cowpeas, which I've heard are really good for soup. And so we're gonna be putting those in the ground. We've also got just like regular old bush bean, green beans that we're going to be putting in, and that's where I planted a ton of them here. I realize my camera angle is a little wonky, but I think I put in like probably 10 or 15 seeds for green beans, and I will succession sow those throughout the season, so we just have a constant run of green beans. And then all of the other beans that kind of are runners, they vine out. So those black beans, cow beans, all of those. I'm going to grow those up over the trellis where I put the cucamelons last year. So those are all in the ground, ready to go up that trellis once they decide to sprout.